And a very good evening to you. I'm Sophia Cambridge with this Sunday, June 17th, Father's Day edition of the CBC Evening News, and a wonderful Father's Day to all the dads out there. Topping our news tonight, Prime Minister Mia Mottley has responded to critics who say the cruise sector was left out of Monday's mini-budget. Prime Minister Mottley says the only reason why government has not dealt with the sector as yet is because of an agreement signed between the previous administration and Global Ports Holding. The agreement is alleged to have been signed just days before the general election.
That would give away the concession to manage our cruise tourism for $34 million US for 30 years, and $1 out of every $6 coming back to the port, plus the 34 million, and 1/5 of any increase at all in the next 30 years. So 4/5 of any future increase in prices goes to global ports, and 5 out of $6 goes to global ports, and all we get back in return is $34 million.
Well, Prime Minister Mottley says government has, however, discovered a flaw in the agreement.
We have determined that in the next 2 weeks or so, we are going to have a meeting with the port and bring everybody to the table, because equally they sought to assign a 30-year agreement, AG, in circumstances where the port only has until 2030 from the Ministry of Housing and Lands, and therefore have no control over that property in the year 2031.
Well, government's plan to boost the creative economy will soon be unveiled. Minister of Culture and the Creative Economy John King made the revelation during the crop over Thanksgiving service at the St. Barnabas Anglican Church this morning. He says the crop over festival will reveal some of the elements that will be used.
This season will demonstrate my government's plans for the expansion and growth of the creative economy. That, we believe, will pave the way and a greater future for the generations of cultural practitioners. We will use this season to demonstrate our gratitude for our creative stakeholders as we archive the completed works of the previous festivals. We will herald in this new season with joyful songs of praise for the gifts of the present and with motivation for the future.
Well, the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs is advising Barbadians that the United States Food and Drug Administration has now expanded the Kellogg's cereal recall to include all Kellogg's Honey Smacks. Acting Deputy Director of the DCCA, Margaret Campbell-Leslie, says the department is advising persons not to eat or consume any Kellogg's Honey Smacks cereal at all, regardless of the size or the best if used by date. The FDA, along with the Centers for Disease Control, are currently investigating an outbreak of the multi-state Salmonella Mabandaka infection in the United States that might be linked to the cereal. The recall notice given by the FDA takes into account all Kellogg's Honey Smack products that are on the market with the cereal's estimated 1-year shelf life. However, the FDA further advises that Kellogg's Honey Smacks products with earlier dates could also be potentially contaminated. We'll have more news just after the break. Well, don't blame the mother. That's the stern warning to fathers who neglect their children because of a broken relationship with their mother. It's come from retired Anglican Bishop Dr. John Holder as he celebrated Father's Day with the Full Neck Moravian Church. In the meanwhile, a number of fathers reflected on their responsibility. Kareem Smith has the story.
Fathers came out in their numbers today in a display of commitment to their children. Retired Anglican Bishop of Barbados Dr. John Holder's message to them and to fathers across the country is simple but powerful. Be responsible. To this end, he made an appeal to fathers who neglect their children after falling out with their mothers.
Our responsibility for our children can never ever be cancelled, can never be removed by the type of relationship we have with their mother. Our responsibility stands. There can be no excuse for abandoning our responsibility toward children as fathers. We cannot blame our neglect on a relationship with their mother.
In addition, Bishop Holder is calling for an end to the expectation by some fathers that mothers should shoulder the burden of child rearing alone.
We cannot expect another person to do our job for us. We need as fathers to be hands-on as our children grow and mature. Fatherhood can never produce its best for our children if we are simply observers rather than active participants in the process.
During the service, fathers and prospective fathers alike were presented with tokens of appreciation for their commitment. And they weren't shy about taking the responsibility head on.
A father is supposed to protect his child at all times, to help educate him, to help guide him. And especially when you have a son, it's to try to show him how to be a man and to kind of raise up to make sure that years from now, after I've passed, I've left behind a strong man that can contribute to society.
Children need the fathers in their life growing up because there's things that you could teach your children as a father. Basically, as a daughter, you teach the daughter basically how a man should truly be. Basically, when she grows up, so she won't be out there searching for love other places. Show her love and that affection. And there's things too that as a father, you can teach your sons basically how a man should really be and how a man should really grow up and be.
A lot of them are taking on the responsibilities of fatherhood. You see a lot more fathers actively involved in their children's lives, and that is what is needed to give them the direction, that confidence to see that daddy's here with me and daddy's doing it, so I can do it as well.
They're hopeful about the future of fatherhood in Barbados. Kareem Smith, CBC News.
Thanks so much, Kareem. And apart from attending church, some dads were treated to lunch away from home. One popular location was the Radisson Aquatica, where a Bajan buffet was available. General Manager Jerry Lewis said they recorded the biggest crowd that they've seen in recent times.
We had phenomenal response to fathers. They really went above and beyond what we expected. For Mother's Day, we did in excess of 300 patrons here. But today, for Father's Day, we did just as much, and that is not normally the case. We took the opportunity to give away wonderful prizes here at the Radisson.
And some of the guests also shared their experiences with us.
I'm here with the group, the Clothesline Society, a community-based charity group. We come here nearly every year, and we're having a wonderful time.
I'd like to ask the fathers to pay a little bit more attention to their children and help the wives with the children and giving support where necessary, not financial support only.
The luncheon here at the Radisson Hotel was very enjoyable. I'm here with my family, my son Wayne, who is a father, one daughter Victoria and his wife Paula, and my husband James Strawn, who will be celebrating our 48th wedding anniversary later next week, as a matter of fact.
Looks like a good time was had by all. Ahead in sports, World Cup football action, and we'll show you how the Windies performed against Sri Lanka.